I don't think anybody likes the term cut, getting cut from the team, getting cut from a group. However, in the NFL, it's that type of business. You have to cut players to benefit the team, and we are going to talk about names that the Colts could possibly cut, the notable ones, of course, cut candidates for the Indianapolis Colts going into the offseason. You're going to see these decisions be made very quickly by Chris Ballard and company. So we're going to talk about some names to watch for. Before we do that, this is a little bit of a test for you Colts fans, NFL fans, whoever's watching. Hit that thumbs up button on the video right now. You're going to see one of three things appear after you click it. If you see a football float by, that means you know ball. Congrats to you. Thumbs up means you're a real one. You've been watching the channel. We appreciate you there. If you do see a soccer ball, I'll tell you, you may need to watch a little more Colts talk. So see what you get when you hit that thumbs up button right now. All right, should be no surprise if you watch the channel. My first Colts cut candidate is Michael Pittman Jr., the wide receiver, former USC draft pick for the Colts. Here's the situation. You got to consider the money that you would save and the cap hit going into next season, right? I will stress that for every player that we discussed today. A lot of them are going to be a pre or post June 1st savings. That's going to make a difference. For Pittman, it's the same, so they can save $24 million by cutting Michael Pittman Jr. before June 1st. That's correct. And you have to consider the $29 million, right, that the cap hit would be for 2026. Solid 2025, and I've hit on Michael Pittman Jr. Consistency and growth. That's what I feel you have gotten from Michael Pittman Jr., and that's all you can really ask for in a lot of wide receivers games. That's what I ask for in players that want extensions, want to make it in the league, get better, right? Be consistent. I honestly can say he has done that. I like Michael Pittman Jr. I think Michael Pittman Jr. is good. The gigantic question around one number, is Michael Pittman Jr. $29 million good, right? That is your cap hit next season if you choose to hang on to Michael Pittman Jr. A lot of fans want Alec Pierce back. I did a little video about A.J. Brown, possibly doing an A.J. Brown trade. It was interesting to see a lot of you say the Colts do or don't have a number one. A lot of you said it was Pierce, not Pittman, if they did have a number one. And then $29 million. That's the cap hit in 2026. Let's decide right now, if you were Chris Ballard, if you were the front office for the Colts, should the Colts cut Michael Pittman Jr.? Type Y for yes, type N for no. It's our pinned comment on the video down below. All right, this is another fan favorite. You're getting into tough waters here because you got a Walter Payton Man of the Year. The Athletic just ran a story about Kenny Moore running around, with the next generation, helping the kids out, being in local schools, just being a good dude overall. And I know people have been up and down on Kenny Moore in general. He's a good example of the pre and post June 1st cut savings. I will say for post June 1st, you cannot use that money in this free agency cycle. So if you are cutting a guy post June 1st, yes, you get that $9.91 million, but you're really looking down the road. So I would urge you, when thinking about cutting Kenny Moore, you look at that 7.06, $13 million cut or cap hit next season. Not his best year this past season. However, the big thing for Kenny Moore, and you need to think about this when we're talking about corners, it's an uncertain position right now for Indianapolis. Now, they traded for Sauce Gardner, and the Colts fans immediately got a taste of that Sauce Gardner lifestyle. It's exciting, and then he gets hurt, and it's not that fun anymore. Travarius Ward looking at retirement / injured last year, so even if he returns, you're still looking at injuries there. Kenny Moore's been consistent, right? He's playing double-digit games, 15, 16, 17 games for you. You can cut Kenny Moore. I would understand if they cut Kenny Moore. I would urge the front office and I would urge fans to look around. Do they have a backup plan, right? We discussed D'Angelo Pons from Indiana, possibly slotting in if they can get him in the second round. Other names in free agency at that slot position, or, moving some free safeties around. Whatever the Colts want to do, they need to make sure they have a backup plan so they're not in a jam next season. If you run into a situation where Moore's gone, Sauce is bound to get hurt again, and Ward retires, where are you sitting at the cornerback position? Need to gauge with the fans, per usual. Want Kenny Moore to stay with the Colts? Type your Kennys down below in the comment section. That'll let us know that you want the Colts to keep Kenny Moore. All right, another longtime Colt, Zaire Franklin. Look, linebacker position is a need right now for this team. I think that matters. I think that's relevant. I also think it's relevant. The savings are not a gigantic number for cutting Zaire Franklin. I think his cap hit is not a gigantic number going into next season. Again, we're talking about an Iron Man-esque guy, a guy that plays a lot of football for the Indianapolis Colts. Football's a physical game. Guys get hurt. A lot can happen in the game. So for somebody to play 16, 17 games many years in a row, that's extremely valuable for this team. The forced fumble stat is pretty impressive in my eyes. I do think it's notable. 9th season in the NFL, and he will turn 30 in July. That brings me to a comment Chris Ballard made when thinking about the Zaire Franklin situation. This is right after the season ended, right? That postseason immediate press conference from Chris Ballard. The defense needs to get younger and needs to get faster. That is not Zaire Franklin. I immediately think, no, Zaire Franklin is not young, and no, Zaire Franklin is not fast. That worries me about what the front office thinks about a guy like this. He's got his ups, he's got his downs. We will see what they do there. But if you had to make the decision right now, should the Colts cut or keep Zaire Franklin? Let us know in the comment section down below. Type C for cut, type K for keep. Final name on the list, and I'll preface this. This one's not about money. This is about team, functioning, the future of the team, roster spots, so on and so forth. Anthony Richardson. We discussed a little bit about the trade rumors, and boy, have they been moving, right? Multiple teams involved. We saw teams at the deadline making a push for him. The other big point I made in our short was, hey, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young, they've all kind of revamped their careers to look a little bit better. Are the Colts willing to move on from Richardson and risk it? He only had 2 games played this last year. He snapped a rubber band in his eye and had an orbital fracture. Cap hit. It's not really a money-saving situation here. It's not like, oh, let's cut him and save this much. It's going to cost you anyway to cut him like that. They will have a decision to make on his 5th-year rookie option in May, so we'll keep an eye on that one. He got his shot, and it wasn't great. I feel like that's kind of where we're at with Richardson in general. Obviously, you'd love for him to get a trade. We ran a poll for you guys, and we kind of asked, would you rather trade Anthony Richardson, try and trade him, or try and keep him? I was shocked to see the 40% of keep. I thought it would be predominantly trade, but apparently people are still very interested there. I personally think it's time to move on. I think he can still be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I said this in my short. It's just not going to happen with the team that drafted him. The situation, the morale, whatever it is for him and the Colts, it's not going to work out. I have that belief about Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold's never going to be this Sam Darnold without getting cut by the Jets, right? You hear the Browns get dogged all the time for cutting Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is not who he is now if the Browns hadn't cut him, and then the Rams and the Panthers also let him move on. So I think it probably is a cut situation, or trade if you can get it done, but probably a cut situation for Anthony Richardson. Now, I do got to shout out the faithful, those who bleed blue. Thank you for subscribing to Colts Talk by Chat Sports. We appreciate it. If you are not subscribed, remember, more subs equals more video and more Colts content. That's what we want to do. We hit 1,000 subscribers. All it is up from here. Hit that sub button right now.